Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. To get started, if you want to just briefly introduce yourself, your role at your company, Viristar, and the focus of your work at your company.
Hi, Thomas. It's great to be with you today. I'm Jeff Baierlein. I'm the director of Viristar. We're based in Seattle, Washington State, USA, and we're a company that provides consulting and training and adventure safety accreditation services to outdoor and adventure programs worldwide, focusing primarily on safety and quality. I've been involved in the outdoor education and outdoor recreation sector professionally since 1987. And I really believe in the value of outdoor and adventure experiences to support personal development and well-being and environmental sustainability and other outcomes. And an important part of a high-quality outdoor recreation, outdoor education sector is the presence of well-trained leaders like those who complete training courses through the European Center of Adventure Training. Happy to be with you today.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Can you just sort of explain in kind of beyond accidents, what does safety practice mean for adventure tourism, in general within in the industry? What does that mean?
Sure. Well, major safety incidents in adventure tourism and adventure activities are rare, but when they happen, they're of course harmful for the people that are directly involved in the incident, but also for the family members and the loved ones of that person and their entire community. And people who are responding to critical incidents can also experience psychological stress injury from that emergency response. And critical incidents can also harm the entire adventure sector and the sustainable development and economic development benefits that that sector brings to a region. So there's lots of harms when there is a safety incident, but fortunately, we know through good safety science a lot about how to prevent incidents, and high quality training of adventure professionals is part of what can help make the sector successful and positive and reduce safety incidents and the harms that they bring.
Yeah, you just mentioned good safety, and that touches on risk management overall. I know this is a very huge, broad topic. If you would have to summarize that in 2 or 3 key points, what good safety for an outdoor tourism operation means.
Sure. Well, one of the things that is an important part of good safety is a positive safety culture. And positive safety culture is shown when the top leadership of an organization values safety and prioritize safety among other important legitimate organizational outcomes. And adventure organizations should also conduct a systematic risk assessment, identify risks that exist in their organization, and then systematically seek to eliminate those risks. And where those risks can't be eliminated, then reduce those risks so far as is reasonably practicable. And it's important organizations to understand good practice safety standards for the adventure sector and to meet those standards that are relevant to their programs. And the organization should have written standard operating procedures, or SOPs, that help activity leaders understand and meet those expectations. There are a variety of findings from research and study into safety, including concepts like systems thinking and just culture, resilience engineering, and human factors that organizations can use to improve safety outcomes. And so when you put all this together, this looks like participants in adventure programs having fun and thrilling and really life-affirming adventures where there are inherent risks, but activity leaders and administrators are managing those risks well.
Well, and I think that's why we appreciate talking with you, because you are a leader in the field in this, and you're very well respected in your business. So, and I assume that, all of those things that you are talking about, you help, and, that's what you do with your company. So if people are interested, they're welcome to contact you for any of those, services. My next question for you is, What do you see around the world, the differences in maybe safety? Is it culture, different expectations, and how would that kind of impact a program?
Sure. Expectations around adventure safety vary widely around the world, and we've worked with adventure professionals in over 80 countries on 6 continents. Often, expectations are associated with the economic status of a country or a territory, where high-income countries have an increased capacity to invest in good safety in the adventure sector, but there are also cultural factors as well. But increasingly, regions around the world are recognizing that regardless of their economic circumstances, there is a value to a high quality adventure sector for sustainable economic development and for the human development outcomes that come out of adventure activities like health and well-being and teamwork and leadership skills. So around the world, expectations around safety and quality and the awareness of the benefits of well-run adventure programs are increasing.
Yeah, you just mentioned that you have a lot of global or international experience, and you likely have seen things go wrong or sideways. In your opinion, what are the common causes when things fail? Is there a pattern to that?
Well, we can look at this from the adventure sector overall. We can also look at this from the company level. And from the sectoral level, a high quality adventure sector like adventure tourism or outdoor recreation sector will have reasonable safety regulations from a government that are achievable and supportive of quality and set a reasonable baseline set of expectations or requirements around safety in adventure activities. And there'll be national governing bodies that provide standards and norms and good practices around usually activity specific sorts of things like paddle sports or mountain guiding. There'll be training centers which provide well-developed qualification schemes and training programs. There'll be codes of practice, accreditation standards, and good practice guidelines for specifics around how to conduct adventure activities. So when you have a region that has all these things in place, then you're more likely to have good safety and quality outcomes. At the company level, a company should have a safety management system where they have identified risks and eliminated or reduced those risks so far as is reasonably practicable. And that includes risks associated with sectors like participants and staff and equipment, transportation, vetting and management of third-party activity providers, risk associated with activities, and the areas in which those activities are provided. And the safety management system should also incorporate tools to manage risks like acknowledgement of risk and release of liability forms, insurance and incident reporting system, safety reviews, and medical screening. And the gaps that we often see in working with outdoor and adventure organizations around the world is often there's not great documentation around standard operating procedures or SOPs that describe how activity leaders should plan and conduct their activities. And along with that, there's often not a well-developed emergency response plan. And if there is, that plan is not always rehearsed in various ways to stress test and to improve that emergency response plan. And then in some places, staff who are leading activities aren't adequately trained in how to lead those activities according to established procedures. And so you can see that an organization like ECAT that's providing high quality and comprehensive training for activity leaders like adventure guides has a really important role in improving the safety and quality of adventure experiences, both in Europe and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you for that. And so along those lines, my question for you is, when you mention about this training that employees should have. Can you talk about how often it should be refreshed? Because I think sometimes it's easy to deliver the training, but we forget about losing it as well. And what's kind of the most effective ways or drills that are there certain things that we can do, or what do you suggest as being an expert in that area for that?
Sure. Well, we know that knowledge and skills degrade over time, so it's important to continue a process of ongoing professional development to maintain those skills and to recertify or to go through a revalidation or a requalification process. How often one should work on refreshing certain skills or certain types of knowledge depends on the situation, including the particular skills involved. In some cases, if there's a specific qualification scheme, then the national governing body or the awarding body will specify that this qualification or this certification expires within a certain time frame, and so there needs to be a recertification, a requalification, revalidation within that time frame. And those bodies will often specify what sorts of ongoing professional development needs to be done, for example, every year. One of the things that we have found is that doing scenarios that are immersive and often extensive are really powerful ways to help people maintain their skills in a holistic way. So emergency drills are a part of that, and they should use varying scenarios. So an organization should test this kind of emergency at their program and then that kind of emergency later to really stress test their emergency procedures and their ability of staff to respond in an effective way. Overall, the goal of this sort of ongoing professional development and drills is to maintain competency of workers to perform their work tasks.
Yeah, right. Let's change the perspective a little bit. Let's imagine a young person who is very, very keen to pursue a career in the outdoors. I know that you were working as an outdoor educator and instructor yourself for quite a while. So what advice could you give a young person who is keen to pursue a career in adventure tourism?
Well, I think that it's helpful when you're thinking about a career to follow your heart and to find something that you're passionate about and that you really believe in. And when you do that, people say, if you love the work that you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. Because it's a passion. So thinking about, is this important to me? Do I really believe in this? Then that's really helpful to think about. Okay, is this a career that I want to be in? And for many people, being in the outdoors, engaging in outdoor adventures is extremely fulfilling on a personal and professional level. People should also recognize that not everybody, when they're 40 or 50 or 60 years old, is going to want to be up in the mountains carrying a heavy pack and that sort of thing. So thinking about what's a sustainable career path for me is important. And the adventure sector is not known for being the most lucrative sector compared to, say, going off and being an investment banker. So being aware of that is important, and learning to be comfortable with a lifestyle that has those economic ramifications. And then I think preparing yourself through high quality training and getting qualifications and certifications is a really important thing and will open up many doors. And so people say education is the best investment that you can make. And so I think for people that are thinking about going into the adventure guide profession, investing in one's training and is a really valuable experience.
Can you tell us about, can you sort of paint an examples or something that comes to your mind about like a certain safety culture that was prevented a bad outcome. Is there something an example that you can give that because these safety protocols or systems or training was put into place, that in your experience, something was prevented because of that?
Sure, and just to be clear about when I talk about culture and safety culture, what that means, I think culture is indicating the beliefs and values that people have, which drive behavior, and safety culture is the beliefs and values around safety, which drive safety-related behavior, such as the extent to which someone prioritizes safety over other legitimate competing organizational priorities. And so things like good training, investing in training, and the cost of good training, scheduling activity leaders like adventure guides appropriately so they're not overworked or exhausted, investing in appropriate equipment and maintaining it well, designing systems that make it less likely for people to make mistakes, practicing emergency procedures. Those are all indicative of a positive safety culture and really valuing and prizing safety and investing in it appropriately. I'd worked as a mountaineering instructor some years ago where we would take participants on multi-week expeditions, technical expeditions up into the mountains, and there was a fair amount of risk. And the organization required people to be fairly extensively trained before they would consider hiring them with extensive mountaineering experience. And then once people were hired to lead these mountaineering expeditions, there was extensive additional training. And that emphasis on really well-trained mountaineering instructors came at a cost because there was a certain expense associated with that. But the organization really prioritized safety. Safety was important there, and the organization had a good safety result, a good history of safety outcomes, perhaps in part because they required staff to have high quality training. So organizations and adventure providers that are interested in a positive safety culture are more likely to want to hire guides who have high quality adventure guiding training, such as what ECAT provides.
Yeah, thank you for that. And we really value safety with ECAT. It's incredibly important for the industry, for us to teach that to our students. We find great value in you as one of our advisors with ECAT. And so it's very important for us. We also wanted, to introduce you as our advisor, so that was, clear that that's a huge value for our program, and that we do wilderness first aid training in our program, and it is a heavy emphasis on what we do, and on the students what they're learning, so that when they go off into the industry, into the jobs, or build their business, that they have all of these things that you've talked about, that they have these capacities and these behaviors and skills and knowledge. So I wanted to thank you. Thank you for being our advisor. Thank you for collaborating with us on a couple little projects that we have. And thank you for our time today. And lastly, I just wanted to ask how people can get in touch with you if you have any big events coming up. We will tag on the bottom of the video your website and your social media accounts, but if there's anything else, a way for somebody to contact you, let us know the best way to do that.
Sure. Well, it's a pleasure to support the really great and important work of the European Center of Adventure Training, which is providing really, really important value for adventure guides in Europe and beyond. So we're very happy to support your good work. And you're right, connecting with Viristar at viristar.com is probably the best way to learn about the consulting and the training and the adventure safety accreditation and the other services that we offer.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jeff. And it's our evening here in Europe, but for you, it's the very beginning of the day, so have a great day.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for coming in and your contribution, and I'm looking forward to a future collaboration.
All right.
Likewise. Great to be with you today.
if you think you'd like to work in the outdoor industry, but you're not really sure what you would do, head to our website and we have a free assessment that you can fill out and we will help you determine that.
To learn more about our training programs, visit our website or sign up to our newsletter.